this clip, I'm going to talk about the importance of healing trauma and the impact that it can have on one's life. I do want to have a trigger warning because I will be addressing topics of sexual violence and abuse. So if you do need support, please do address our resources and feel free to get in touch. So I came to this because when I was in my early 20s, I was raped by a family member in Mexico, which is where I'm originally from. I definitely felt like my whole world collapsed. Everything was turned upside down. The career that I had as a cinematographer and a camera woman got completely derailed, where I put my camera down for almost a year and couldn't really shoot any images. And luckily, I did get access to several government programs that were supporting me from an art therapy and different types of therapy perspective. Out of that, particularly my art therapy, I kept having this image of broken wings in my mind, being completely bare and feeling like, I didn't really have the capacity to fly anymore, and I could see others flying and following their dreams, but I felt like I couldn't and I was stuck. So as things evolved, I eventually reached out to other rape survivors to try and see what kinds of images were staying with them after the assault. And I discovered that everyone seemed to be quite attached to something, whether it was a color or an object or something. And obviously with someone with a visual background, I decided to create a project called The Spiral of Containment: Rape's Aftermath, which was an exhibition at the Oxo Tower in London and is now going to travel around the world. It's headed for the Castle of Good Hope in Cape Town, hopefully once COVID is over. And it also turned into this book, The Spiral of Containment: Rape's Aftermath, which is essentially 25 survivor stories and how we were made to feel after the assault, expressed through imagery and the realm of the imagination. So it's all kind of based on the experience of having been through art therapy and sharing this with others. The whole process of putting this together initially was incredibly overwhelming because every time I would say, for example, connect with a rape crisis center to ask them to see if they could forward my email to their clients, I immediately knew when somebody had done it because my phone would not stop ringing. And I would have so many people wanting to participate, men and women. And it was just really important to me to make sure that, everyone that took part in this was going to be supported and helped in their healing journey. So I did have support from various psychotherapists to make sure that people that I worked with were ready for something like this and would find the process healing. And as things progressed and I heard more stories of rape and sexual assault, initially I was, sometimes crying with people who would share their story with me, and sometimes feeling really overwhelmed, quite. And as time progressed, I just ended up just feeling much more empathy. It was just so easy to understand when somebody described how they were feeling because I had experienced it myself most of the time. And being able to kind of collectively make a stance against sexual violence was really healing. And I think, most of the people that I spoke to in the project, if not all, described that their process in being part of this and being able to tell their story in a way that was empowered, in a way that they had control over, was also very healing. Some people went as far as to say that they wanted their image to be hung in their dining room, which I thought was awesome because, as we know, rape is not a dinner table conversation. And this means that they were happy to open it up in that way. So the importance of healing trauma is that, things happen in life that we can't always control. Sometimes we're exposed to violence as children, sometimes an incident will happen, and rather than carrying this bag of bricks on our back for our whole lives, and potentially hurting others because we haven't learned how to deal or process with our emotions and our shame ourselves, it's just really important to take the necessary steps, whatever that means for you, to really digest and process this, and know that we do have the tools to coping with what happens to us. They are out there. Sometimes they're not accessible to everyone. I was incredibly lucky to have support. There are so many people out there that do not have any support whatsoever, and this is why we're seeing so much of the fabric of society disintegrating, because there are so many hurt people in the world, and we all need support, and we all need respect, and we all need love and caring. It's really quite basic. It's what makes us human. So I guess my request to everyone is to really, if you can, have a reflection on things that you feel you might need to resolve in yourself before you even think about how it is that you're gonna save the world or fix things or any of these things, because it is very true that we cannot give ourselves from a half empty glass. It has to be from our overflow. And it might sound a little bit cheesy, but the reality is that this is true. If we are not wholesome ourselves, we're just broken people going around the world injured, trying to help others when we can't help ourselves. So step one is trying to address our trauma, trying to address our pain. And I sincerely hope that some of the resources here might help guide you on that process. If anyone wishes to talk about, sexual violence or experiences of rape, feel free to message me directly. And I look forward to hearing from you. I hope you're well, and talk soon.